Hello and welcome to another video game story time with me, Sky Fellowship. And today I'm going to be absolutely blasting the fuck out of this game. I always say, as long as I help one person with a video, well, not just a video, with like the videos in general, that's good enough for me. And that is the honest truth. But every now and then, there's a video that I'm going to put up that I don't care if anyone relates to it. I need to vent about this game. But, like with a lot of things, I'm going to start at the beginning with Borderlands. I'm going to say that the title, I've never been able to fine-tune this. I've tried so many times waiting to start this video, and sometimes I just start them and think, yep, the title will come to me. I'm thinking How to Kill a Franchise, when you totally betray your entire fan base. Like, it's something along those lines is probably going to be the name of this episode, because yeah, this is one of the biggest steaming heaps of shit I've ever played. As I say, I'm going to start at the beginning with Borderlands. I got the game when it came out, like literally day one, and didn't actually get the chance to play it for about 6 months because the people I wanted to play it with just were never available. And then I played it to the point that I was so obsessed with it, I actually did close to an hour-long review back in the day, so about 20 years ago at this point, on this channel. And that's something I've always been a little proud of, because long format reviews was something that didn't really exist back then. And this is why I never want to brag too much, because at the end of the day, what was, and I will never look back and go, maybe I could have been an absolutely huge YouTube star if my health hadn't fucked me over, but because I never wanted to be. I'm just happy that a lot of the ideas that I actually had turned out to be something that other people then started to do. And with Borderlands, I couldn't stop raving about how much I loved it, and still to this day I will run through, like in preparation for Borderlands 4, I was running people through the older games who'd never played them before, who were all interested in Borderlands 4, and hilariously none of them then played Borderlands 4, but I don't blame them, because I'm part of the reason they didn't play it, because I've warned them not to get it. Borderlands 1 was a bit basic story-wise, but it's still a lot better than the story that we got in Borderlands 3 and in Borderlands 4. Borderlands 2 was easily where the story peaked. I see it easily where the story peaked, to be honest. I am one of the few people who champions the fuck out of pre-sequels story. Not the gameplay. Gameplay's absolutely awful. Still better than this shit, but absolutely awful compared to good Borderlands games. So we have Borderlands 1. I would always say the story is mid. The gameplay is brilliant. I still actually think it holds up. It's one of the few old games that I can actually really play, and maybe it's just that I am totally obsessed with it that I can still play it. Like, when I go through it, I do definitely notice a lack of quality of life features that slowly got drip-fed through with the rest of the games. But anyway, we went Borderlands 1, we went Borderlands 2, we went Borderlands pre-sequel. I'm trying to remember. So Tales of the Borderlands, I think, was after pre-sequel, not before pre-sequel. Tales of the Borderlands has a really good story. I don't really play games like that. I only really enjoy Tales of the Borderlands and Dispatch in this sort of genre, and Life is Strange as well, but even then there's only a couple of games. That'll be its own video. I basically like 2 of the Life is Strange games and don't like the other 2. And the new one I'm really not looking forward to either, because anyway. That's a different video. This is going to be long. I know this is going to be long. I have a lot to get off my chest. After Tales of the Borderlands, I believe, was when we finally got the final DLC pack for Borderlands 2, which they said was going to set up story for Borderlands 3, and loads of the story hooks just never actually happened. I noticed, especially in replaying again, setting up to get other people there, it reminded me, oh yeah, the amount of things that they actually set up here, that just never came to fruition. I don't understand how this is actually a setup for Borderlands 3. But then we get Borderlands 3, and Borderlands 3 is one of the most hated games, and it annoys me because gameplay-wise, I think it's the best in the franchise. It's got the best quality of life features, it's got the best combat, the best movement, the best gameplay, I think the best subclasses, the best characters. Right, When I say characters, I do mean characters to play as. I don't think you will ever get better than Lilith, Gage. Like, these are some of my all-time favourite Vault Hunters. But you, like, playing as Flak, non-binary representation, fuck yeah. They are easily one of my favourite fucking characters in the franchise. Mose is one of my all-time favourites. I absolutely loved playing as Mose. I loved playing as Bear, like the Iron Bear mech. Just everything about it, brilliant. Except the story, which was one of the worst things they've ever done. And again, I think even the almost non-existent story from the first game is still significantly better than Borderlands 3. Then I think we got new Tales from the Borderlands. The only thing at all that I can actually remember about that heap of shit is that Law comes out as a trans man. And I already loved Law in Borderlands 3, one of my favourite side characters, like NPCs that they added in. I really hoped he was going to be in more games, and it turns out he was, just not a good one. He was in, again, New Tales from the Borderlands. It's terrible, to be honest. Then we finally got Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which was 50% of the game's brilliant, 50% of the game's bad. I love the gameplay. It's got a lot of the same gameplay that Borderlands 3 has. It's got a really good story. Ultimately, it kind of feels like a better version of Borderlands 3, with the exception of the fact that I don't really like the overworld map, and there's a lot of side quests that are just annoying because of that. The ones that actually take place in the areas are good, but even then the areas feel like tiny little dioramas as opposed to real full-out areas. And then, unless I am mistaken, and this is where like people go fake Borderlands fan because how could you forget this game? Unless I'm mistaken, then we got Borderlands 4. This is the most corporate bullshit sellout, like bland, plain vanilla reset of a franchise ever. It doesn't have a single thing that I can actually say I like about it. I hate the story. I hate most of Vault Hunters, to be honest. Like, I kind of like Vex, but even then, she's nothing compared to any of the other Sirens. I mean, she's better than Maya, but that's just purely because I really hated Maya's bubble ability. We had... So, on top of the awful story and the awful Vault Hunters, the guns, I don't actually like the gunplay in this game at all. I think the entire thing of people claiming that this was supposed to have a very unique gun system with very unique fun guns where all the combinations of the parts... I don't know if I just had severely bad RNG, but it felt like I'd seen all of the guns that the game actually had to offer, and all of the missions and all of the story and pretty much everything, all of the bosses, all of the enemy variety, but I'll get to those two in a minute. I felt like I'd seen everything of note in the 10-hour mark of the game. I played this for about 87 hours, I think, is when I finally rolled credits. I didn't do any of the endgame. I literally started the first endgame mission, saw what the endgame was, where it basically put me back in one of the most longest, boring fucking missions in the game, and I'm like, you don't even want to let me skip all of the, like, all of the setting up the mission part. I can't just go straight to the combat part. I have to do all of the boring slog part as well. The open worlds, like the open world areas, are horrific. We literally have the green area, the white area, and the brown area. The brown area is the most brown I've ever seen in the game. It is horrific. It actually hurt my eyes after a while. I can't, like, basically, the way the game kind of works, you do each of the areas in whatever order you kind of want to, but each of them you're kind of going to be spending about 15 hours in, doing monotonous quest after monotonous quest, fighting the same bullshit enemies over and over again, finding bosses, and finally thinking, oh, well, I might actually get some new content here because I'm fighting a boss. No, you won't. The bosses are just bigger versions of the smaller enemies. For the most part, there is very little unique enemy variety, very little unique boss variety. It really is just the same thing over and 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 over again. I absolutely cannot fucking stand this fucking game. It is one of the worst games I've ever played. It was the biggest disappointment for me in 2025. It's like Randy Pitchford turned around and was like, fuck everyone, I'm going to make the most bland, boring game because everyone complained about Borderlands 3. And again, there's not a single thing I can actually praise about this. I haven't even got to the tech issues yet. I'm one of the few people who seems to have got very lucky. My PC rig that I've built actually likes Unreal Engine 5. Most of, like, I still get some bugs and issues with a lot of games, but for the most part, I tend to have a lot smoother experience and a lot better experience than most people running Unreal 5. Unfortunately, there is a flip side to that, and the amount of times that I've got games that don't run on Unreal 5, and actually then I start having issues and glitches. Like, I adore Elden Ring. Godric, one of the earliest bosses, it's like kind of the second rune boss that you fight. That fight would dip down to like 15 FPS sometimes. Didn't matter what I did, even if I turned everything off. Like, my PC can run Elden Ring, everything maxed out, even the ray tracing. I don't have an issue anywhere except that one fight. They finally fixed it in a patch, but for whatever reason, even if I'd dropped everything to the lowest of the low, I still had issues with that one fight. So I would get kind of little bugs like that in games. This, for the most part, it worked. I didn't have many issues. The shader issue that people had didn't really crop up. The severe screen tearing and frame dips and things like that just didn't really crop up. I got very lucky. And I want you to realise that I'm saying all of these things about how much I hate this game, and it ran fine for me. There's a lot of people out there that this game ran like absolute shit for. And I can't imagine how they ever actually played the game. Because if this did run like absolute shit for me, I think this would have been the first Borderlands I've never finished. But instead, I actually needed this game. I really did. I was having a horrific month. I was having a horrific time with things overall, with my health, with, like, literally, that I had a leak in my roof because the wind ripped part of a solar panel off, and it was just pissing down rain in my ceiling where I sleep, literally over my bed. It was fun. I had so many, like, things that I just needed a game like Borderlands to lose myself into. And ever since the first reveal, I've known this game looked terrible, and I was worried about it. I was so worried. I'm like, this doesn't look anything like Borderlands. It doesn't have any of the flair, doesn't have any of the style, and it doesn't have anything that I actually come to this franchise for. And yeah, it came out, I played it, and I genuinely think there's maybe 2 main missions and 2 to 3 side missions that I actually enjoyed. Most of them involved Zane. That's about it. I hated the boss characters, like the main story boss characters. I thought all of them were, for the most part, rather awful. I can't even remember some of the thoughts I had about them, because I had scathing insults for them. I wish I could have recorded this video months ago, and I would say maybe I should have replayed through the game to, like, remind myself, but why? I would never do that. Like, this legitimately might be the last time I ever play this game. I bought the fucking Ultra Deluxe because I'm that much of a sicko for these games, and I don't want to ever play any of the DLC, because there's literally, I don't think, not anything they could do that would make me want to play the DLC. The actual gameplay, the moment-to-moment gameplay, is fucking shit. I cannot fucking stand anything about this game. And I haven't even got to the worst parts yet. The parts that they clearly removed so much stuff because of bigots being pissed off that how dare this franchise have queers, how dare this franchise have trans people, how dare this franchise have freaks and geeks everywhere. Borderlands has always been for the freaks and the geeks. I cannot stand Randy Pitchford as a person. Even before the scandal thing that came out, which, by the way, please do not take this as me defending an awful person, but it is absolutely wild to me that Randy Pitchford put porn on a USB that was actually considered legal porn, if memory serves. Like, by the time people finally found out what it was, it's that the whole barely legal thing, which everyone always says is questionable. And morally, I do disagree with stuff like that. Like, morally, I think age gaps in relationships are something that society is not ready to accept, are fucked up. But at the end of the day, he had legal porn on a USB. And that was enough to make everyone in the world hate him. I hated him before this. So it was kind of weird that everyone was like, this is the thing that you draw the line on? Really? This is the thing that... Oh, okay, fine. Cut to everything that's going on in America at this moment in fucking time, and had been going on when this game came out. Really, you can't save that venom and hatred and vitriol for the people who went to a specific fucking island. Really? And I know people are finally waking up to that, trust me, but there are so many people out there who still defend pieces of shit like that, and I'm like, Randy Pitchford got crucified for way less. And again, I'm not saying he shouldn't have been crucified. I don't like him as a person. I've always been the Borderlands fan who said, I love Borderlands, but... And it always was, I love Borderlands, but can't stand Randy Pitchford. Like, really, can't stand Randy Pitchford. I can't say anything else about it. I don't think he's ever done a single thing that I like, to be honest, outside of obviously playing Borderlands. As a person, I think he's just not great. But anyway, Borderlands has always been, ever since Randy said it, for the freaks and the geeks. He literally, like, someone messaged him saying that they can never cosplay as anyone because they're an amputee. He made Gage, one of my favourite characters. Like, the team turned around and made Gage just so that this amputee person can have a fucking character she could cosplay as. They put plus size people in before that was really a thing, and people would cosplay as Ellie. There's so much about this entire fucking franchise that's always been for the freaks and the geeks. Every type of freak or geek that you can imagine. And there's just... It all got removed. The NPCs in this game are so boring, so bland, so monotonous. I can barely remember any of them. I don't think any of them had anything real to say, anyone had any lines that made me laugh. Any of them just did pretty much anything that I actually thought, wow, this is a really well-developed character. Even the times where there were queerness mentioned, it was in the most boring, bland, vanilla way, almost as if it did feel like a tick box and like a diversity checkbox type thing, and that's so soul-destroying for a franchise that's always been about embracing the people that get shit on by everyone else. That's always what Borderlands has been. Borderlands has been a safe haven for all of us who feel like we get shit on by society. It's got some of the best ADHD representation, some of the best autistic representation. I absolutely love Tannis. I absolutely love Tiny Tina. Tina, who was queer, like very openly queer, and who had a lazy eye, because like what game has characters with a lazy eye and they're not the butt of the joke or anything? Tina at no point has ever been the butt of a joke for her eyes. Like, there's so much out there, so much good that they did in even the bad games, like pre-sequel, and then you get this piece of shit. And I don't even like how it looks either. Like, I know I said everything's the most monotonous with, like, the white area. I call it the white area because everything's fucking white. Everything looks like this. The brown area, everything looks like the brown area, except for one section where it's even more brown than the brown area. And the green area, it's all the same. But none of it even looks like Borderlands. I don't know what they've done to the cell shading on this. Like, Borderlands has always had a specific vibe with their cell shading, and this game just looks fake. Is the only way I can describe it. I wish I could explain it. It just, ever since I booted this up, I booted it up, everything maxed out with the 9s. Turns out my PC couldn't handle Unreal Engine 5 shit on that. And as much as I'm saying I didn't really get the compiling shaders thing, that is something that with a patch I noticed it was starting to happen more and more. But ever since I booted it up, I thought, this looks worse than Borderlands 3. And I don't know if it's just me who thinks that, but I would boot up Borderlands 3 after, like, I literally did. As soon as I rolled credits on this, I went back and started a new file on Borderlands 3 because I needed something to fucking enjoy in this universe to remind myself that I actually do like this franchise. And straight away I was like, this is so much more vivid. The colours pop more. Like, I've got a really good monitor with really good HDR. This game might as well not have HDR. Everything about it looks terrible. So, yeah. I think I'm done. I think this is one of those, I've had my cathartic moment that I really, really needed. And it's one of those that maybe there are people out there who actually like this. And I know there are some people who claimed, well, I think it's better than 3 and it's the best one since 2. I don't know personally how. Everyone's got their own opinion, and I'm never ever going to say mine is right and yours is wrong, because it really is everyone's opinion. There's stuff that I like that people hate, and vice versa. But as an absolute avid sicko who has beaten the first game with every single character multiple times, beaten the second game with every single character multiple times, beat pre-sequel twice, I think. Again, it's really not good. Like, the story's great, and to be honest, if you've avoided it all this time, I would say it's worth a playthrough just for the story. But if not, just fucking watch it on YouTube. It makes the story of 2 so much better, seeing pre-sequel story. I've beat 3 more times than I can count. 3's the one that I've run through more times than any other Borderlands, with all of the characters multiple times. I really love playing as all 4 of them. Even Zane, who is probably my least favourite, is still so much more fun to play as than any of the characters in Borderlands 4. I beat Wonderlands once and a half time. I had a weird moment where I started on the PlayStation, couldn't carry my save over on the PC, so I've only beat it once. I will eventually do it again, because again, the actual gameplay is fine, it's just the open world stuff. But yeah, I've played these games so much, and I truly do not ever want to touch Borderlands 4 again. I don't know what they could do on the DLC that would make me make me want to come back. At this point, I don't even think doing something that, like, they wouldn't do this anyway, but I don't even think if they did like sequels to my favourite DLCs, they'd have to really, really nail them and make them feel something special, and they'd have to actually design areas that don't just all look generic as fuck for me to actually want to ever boot this game up again willingly and play it. I don't want to play it with friends. I don't want to play it with randos. Like, it really is saying something when I'm someone who's put thousands, literal thousands of hours into this franchise. And this is the first time I've ever considered any time I've spent in the Borderlands universe to be a total colossal waste of time. I couldn't even say that about New Tales from the Borderlands, because again, at least I got to see Law come out. It's like, literally, that's the only thing I remember about that fucking game, and that one thing is still better than anything that I actually did in this game. I like Echo 4, thinking about it. That's like one of the, all of the stuff that I can kind of praise is all superficial stuff, but even then, as much as I'm saying I like Echo 4, when I was jumping on my, I can't even remember what the fucking thing's called, the speeder bike, vehicle, whatever thing, whenever I would actually jump on it, the game would instantly become on rails, because this is the worst part about the open world map that I didn't even get around to, so I best see it now before I forget. We get an open world map and loads of different abilities, and every single area has one way to go. That really is it. You can't find these things by yourself. You can't just do a Tears of the Kingdom, Zelda, anything at all where you can jump over any section of the map. There's invisible walls everywhere. There really is one specific unique way to get to something. So when I was filling out all of these things on the map, I'd literally have to, I can't remember what button the marker is. It's been that long since I played it, and as much as the controls are on the screen here, I use a controller that I can fully customize the keys, and because Borderlands 4, and actually most of the Borderlands games since 3, use more buttons than a standard controller actually has, my D-pad is set to something like left shift, left alt, left control. My ABXY is set to, I don't actually think I set them to ABXY on a keyboard, that I think they're like enter, space, things like that. So I'm trying to remember the actual button to mark this, so I might be about to really mess up. Nope, it's not that one. Nope, that exits. Either way, when I actually set this yellow line thing, I'd find one of these things, be it an echo log or be it a vault symbol, anything at all that I actually ended off going to, any of the stuff that I wanted to check out, the areas, the caves, the things like that. I would essentially set my marker. Nope, it's not that button. It's that button. It's that button. There we go. Finally, I would set the marker and I'd just follow the line, because that's all you can do. There's absolutely no way or reason to explore, because you can't explore. Every single time I would find something and I'd try to find a way to get across it, I eventually gave up, and then I realised if I just put the marker there, it'll show me the one way it wants me to go. The entire open world map is a fucking on rails open world map. There is literally only one way to get to everything. Every single thing about this fucking game I cannot fucking stand. You managed to make the most boring game in a franchise all about chaotic fun. You really did put the board in Borderlands. It's just shit. I can't see an actual positive good word outside of I like Echo 4. I like everything that I like The one tiny minute things that I do like is all superficial stuff. I didn't enjoy almost anything in the game. As I say, I enjoyed maybe a couple missions. I think one of the vault bosses was kind of fun, because that's the worst part. Even the unique bosses, the ones that are actually unique, the ones that they said would be actual gameplay and would require actual strategies, no, I think one of them did. I think one of them I had to do something other than just stand there and fucking shoot. But nope, even that promise fell through. Just like, I know Peter Molyneux had nothing to do with this game, but unless I'm mistaken, Peter Molyneux's the guy who lied about everything with Fable. That's what this game came across like. It came off as another Fable to me, where it's like everything I was promised, none of it delivered. Now I guess I'm done. I truly did have so much to say. There's probably more that I forgot to say as well, because again, if I'd have recorded this when I was able to, like when I wanted to, I mean, months ago, I probably could have went for a full fucking hour. What the fuck did you do to one of my all-time favourite franchises? And I know there's going to be people out there, and it's like, well, gaming's not all about you. Yep, fully agree. Fully get that. There's franchises out there where there's games that I do not like about them. You probably, like, if you've watched any other videos, you'll have known that I've discussed Zelda games that I absolutely can't stand, despite loving Zelda. There's Resident Evil games I can't stand, despite loving Resident Evil. This happens in every franchise, but the problem is, 3 was considered a failure, and 4 actually is the failure. I don't know if we'll ever get a 5, and what's even worse, I don't know if I want a 5. That's how bad this fucked up. Again, gaming is not all about me. Fully get that. As I'm going back to this point that I was trying to get to, I've realised I went off on a tangent. But if I've paid my money for something, I expect to at least be able to enjoy it. And I can honestly say I am not a satisfied customer. I think as a whole, the Borderlands fanbase isn't a satisfied customer. I think you pissed off the queer contingent, the freak and geek contingent, and you also pissed off the normie contingent who also didn't really like the game. I feel like this has been a colossal failure for almost everyone. I don't think I've really heard a positive word about it. I also don't think I've even heard anyone talk about it since October when it came out. Was it October? I think it was October. Maybe it was September. There's just so little that I have ever heard positive, that as much as... And again, I didn't even know what point I was trying to make with the gaming's not all about me, and I fully get that. I just need to vent sometimes. And this was such a disappointment. It's... People get invested with entertainment franchises because the world is absolute shit at the moment. And at a time when I really, really, really needed Borderlands, even Borderlands let me down and disappointed me. And it really sucks. So if you are one of the few people who enjoyed this, I'm genuinely happy for you. I wish I could be like you. I wish I could say I enjoyed it. I truly do. But I can't. And as I say, if the way things are going with this franchise, if we ever get a 5... at the very least, I don't think I'm ever going to pre-order it. I think this is the last time I ever pre-order a Borderlands game. I think we've hit that point where it's like, you know what? You need to really prove to me that you've listened and you've course corrected before I actually fucking buy into one of these now. And that sounds wild, because for me, personally, who's been a sicko for this franchise, even the misses are still worth playing, with the exception of New Tales from the Borderlands. But that's just that's an interactive story anyway, so it's not really a Borderlands game. But even pre-sequel was worth playing. This isn't worth playing. It just isn't. I wish I'd spent the time doing literally anything else, because I regretted my playthrough so much. And part of me wants to say, I really do hope that we get a 5th one, and I really do hope that it goes back to... I mean, you can take some of the gameplay things from this, but for the most part, I wish it handled more like Borderlands 3. If you are going to take gameplay from this, it needs to be... The open world stuff needs to allow us to actually use the things like the hookshot grapple thing and all of the abilities that you get to actually traverse the area. I need to actually be able to do that on my own time, in my own ways. I can't play another on-rails shooter like this. It just, no. I don't really know how you fix it, because it's not just the gameplay. Again, it's the whole culture war that we're having, where don't you dare mention queer people, don't you dare mention trans people, don't you dare do anything at all. Like, we'll call you woke. Like, how dare you have POC people. Like, bigots really do ruin absolutely everything. But in this case, it's kind of all of the evils of the world. It's bigotry and capitalism, because capitalism said, well, we want more sales, so let's appeal to the bigots more, whilst selling all of the other fans out. And then it didn't even work, because Randy came out and is like, fuck you all, and how dare you say that your game doesn't run very well, maybe you need a better PC, and all of that usual shit. And to the point of that now, they haven't officially cancelled it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does get cancelled, and if it doesn't, then it'll probably be delayed for a very long fucking time. The Switch 2 version, because turns out the game that he claimed was actually running fine for people, and people just were unrealistic with their expectations. Sure enough, it can't actually run on a fucking Switch 2. What a surprise. Yeah, I could probably come up with so many different things to rant about, to see how many ways I absolutely fucking hate this game. But I think by now the disdain is probably made well and really clear. So, until next time, this has been Sky Fellowship, and I truly do hope you have a great rest of your day. And I can't give people a great rest of the day. I can't recommend anything that would actually help your day. But I can recommend that if you are trying to have a good day, don't play Borderlands 4, because I'm pretty sure it'll fuck your day up. Right, bye.